Good morning. Oz, if you're out there, will you help me get the rock fan going? Because it's not going. Hang in there for a second, guys, while I get all of these channels launched. I am in a lot more places this morning. So let's see. It says this one. I got to hit the pencil, and go live. It won't light up. I just get a stupid red circle with a line through it. So, oh, I think I somehow got it to go. How did you get it to go? Am I live still? Okay, I'm hoping I'm live on Rockfin. Holla if you're over on the Rockfin and you can see me. Oh, that's cool. I can actually delete or block comments now. Ooh, I feel special. If you guys are joining us from AM Wake Up, what a great show they had this morning. Funny stuff. Let me get logged in. Yeah, as you guys can see my TV now. I'm doing a little remodeling of the studio today. So shout out to everybody who's joining me. I saw a bunch of you guys hanging out in the chat. Kate, good morning. Let's see. Catalytic Centaur, I see you in there hanging out. It's Cold Fusion Gaming. Welcome. Amber, good morning, Amber. Good morning. Fred Edwards. Good morning, Fred. And Abram right out of the gate with a super ray over on the Rockfin. Thank you so much, Abram. You are so amazing at helping so many of us keep our things going. And I just want to shout out to everybody over on the Rockfin. We just hit this week we hit 13,000 and now we're up to 13,100 almost. So thank you everybody who's following us and joining us on the Rockfin. Rockfin's where the truth lives. That's what we say, right? Does everybody hear me okay? I kind of feel like I'm dead in the ether right now. Good morning, Red Cloud. Holla if you can hear me. Holla, holla. We're going to do some sound checks before we get into it. Oh, man, I got to tell you guys, you will see me fanning myself with Assange all day because I am going through some serious hormonal imbalance. And I know we're not allowed to talk about that. Women over 40, don't talk about your hormones, but I've been doing some homeopathic hormone replacement. And I got myself way out of whack because I tried a new one. I added some testosterone to my estrogen and it just threw me into like 40 hot flashes a day, night sweats. I'm pretty miserable. So I quit taking it, but it'll take a couple of weeks to get out of my system. Kate's ready for sound checks. Okay. Menopause sucks and we're not allowed to talk about it, right? Because if you talk about it, then you're just a crazy menopausal bitch, right? But all of us are living with it. I mean, I went into perimenopause when I was in my late 30s because I had a surgical procedure that they didn't tell me would send me into menopause, but it did. And then every doctor I went to after that said, oh, I can just tell by looking at you. You've got plenty of estrogen. Look at you. Yeah, honey, I know how to put fucking makeup on. That doesn't mean I'm not suffering. And I'm suffering. So yeah, I do normally just these little estrogen type of pills. Normally those help pretty well. Yeah, I get the crazy mood swings and the emotions and all that too, but mostly it's the hot flashes that are killing me. So if you see me fanning myself with Assange, it's just a reminder to free Assange and to cool me off. So it was a fucking mess about 15 years with menopause issues. Plus I didn't sleep for 3 years. Kate, I know that insanity of not sleeping, right? When your sleep is messed with, it has negative aspects on every single part of your life, right? I call it day tripping because when you've only had an hour sleep, maybe of unsound sleep. Oh, Jilly, you too. It destroys your life. It rules your life, right? Oh my gosh, yes, I know. The no sleep is a big one for me. But since I got on Kratom, I haven't had that problem in almost 10 years now. And thank God. I'm not saying Kratom will help anybody with their sleep. It helped me. It helped me level out my highs and lows because I'm a self-admitted bipolar manic depressive that, can be a little off the hook when I do. But yeah, Kratom's helping me with my sleep. It's helped me with my moods. It's helped me with so much. And, if you want to talk to me about it, I'll tell you everything I know about it. You reach out to me if you think it could help you, but I do not advocate for anybody to get on Kratom because it is addictive. I am addicted to Kratom. I will stay addicted to Kratom. But considering the other addictive shit that I was addicted to for so long, it was a good trade-off for me. So Let's get the show started. Enough BSing for the day. Hey, Marby Dog, welcome, welcome, welcome. Yeah, hot flashes. I feel sorry for the younger women who don't understand. You know, you just think that it's a joke that's said on TV about menopause, but the reality of living it. I mean, we can make Viagra and get an 80-year-old hard, but we can't figure out how to cool fucking women down. We're half the goddamn planet. Big pharma. Don't you see some money needed here, right? I refuse to go and get on all of the big pharma drugs, though. I mean, go get hormone replacement therapy from my doctor. It caused my grandma breast cancer. So I'm sorry if I'm a little scared of it, you know? So that's where we're at. Let's see. Let's move this along. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Trailer Park Pundit. We're going to do fair use if I could ever get over there. Fair use. Everything I talk about, I am just giving you my opinion. Please do your own due diligence research on any topic that I bring up. And this show is not meant to be a deep dive into anything. I'm just bringing you headlines and topics that I find interesting that I want to talk to you about. So please go do your research and look into stuff and play both sides. That's my biggest thing is I'm always like, okay, what is the other side saying? What is the benefit? What is the I try to weigh it out evenly, not just suck in that predisposed you know, cognitive dissonance that we've all been programmed with our whole entire life. So trying to be fair about it. Raspberry tea helps. I will try that, except for raspberry tea gives me heartburn. I do love it though. Internet went out again, Jilly. I'm so sorry. Poor Jilly. Jilly has been fighting internet issues. A lot of us has. We would think with the advancement of technology that our internet issues would be getting better, not worse. But it seems like they're getting worse. I don't know what that's all about. But, you know, I think it's more of a control issue than it is anything. I got a lot of crazy stories on the deck for you guys today. I'm going to touch base with a couple of stories that everybody's talking about, but then I got some stories that nobody's talking about. Waiting for the internet guy. Oh yeah, they'll be there between what 1 and 10 next year. They always do that graph, right? Yeah. So here's a little song I wrote called "If You're Not on a Government Watch List by Now, You Should Be Ashamed of Yourself." And I just want to shout out to all of you out there because I know y'all be on the watch list with me. Amber, I know you are. Kate, as many chats as you're. Jilly, how many that you mod for? Yeah, we're all in trouble, right? I guess it's a badge of honor. Marby Dog says lots of men on test replacement these days expect a mass spike in prostate cancer in the years to come. Yes, we know that taking synthetic hormones causes cancer, right? I mean, women or men, no matter what you're taking. So this used to be where my PayPal symbol was, but fuck PayPal. So if you want to help me out, you can donate by giving a super chat or a super ray. Or, of course, we have our Patreon over at Beauty and the Boomer. I'm not running my own for Trailer Park Pundit because I just love you guys. And you guys are so kind. You'll give to both. And I don't want you to do that because the money is hard right now and finances are tough. And so we appreciate all those that help us keep the light on. I so appreciate everybody who helped me get to DC. I want to run the names real fast. There you go. You guys, it takes a village and you guys got me there and you just keep me going. And I appreciate you guys more than I can ever say. So thank you so much for your support over on the Rockfin and on the YouTubes. Today we are live at Twitch, Rumble, if Oz kicked off the Rumble, Rockfin, and 2 YouTube channels, my YouTube channel and Beauty and the Boomer's YouTube channel. So I think the only one we don't have live today is Odyssey. So we're moving on up in the world. Shout out to everybody who's watching on those channels. Okay, so here's headlines I don't care to cover. California legislature passes bill regarding penalties for oral anal sex with willing children. Now, I took a look at this and you got both sides virtue signaling and screaming about this, right? The Democrats are like, oh, you know, this is because there's so many younger men that are, say, 24, 25 that are getting caught with younger girls, and then they have to go on the sex registry list, blah, blah, blah. And I understand this because I had a family member at 18 years old get pulled into the system because of a girlfriend who was 15 years old, and he had to go on the registered sex list. He's still on there to this day, 30 years later, and it totally effed his life up. It ruined his life. So I get what they're trying to do, but this is just a big bird dog whistle for Republicans to say, look at what we're doing, especially in light of the fact that we know there's a lot more SA crimes going on with children than are being prosecuted or reported, right? I mean, anybody who even understood the top of Pizzagate understands that's going on. So both sides of the story yet again, you have to look at it. So that's a headline I don't care to cover. And experts puzzled why Haiti has one of the lowest COVID-19 death rates in the world, despite administering 0 vaccine doses. We don't know. For months, health experts have tried to pinpoint the reason for Haiti's inexplicable low COVID-19 death rates, as other countries continue to struggle to contain explosive numbers of cases and deaths. In India, a global hotspot for the virus, 7-day average for cases reached 385,000, while deaths have roughly topped off at 3,000 a day in the nation of nearly 1.4 billion people. So they're comparing India to Haiti here, but they're saying, oh, we don't know. So this was from May, but still, come on. We know, right? We know exactly. So those are your headlines I don't care to cover. Did you guys see? We have to talk. Ghislaine has decided that she is going to do some prison house interviews. So I think CBS got the ins on this. The reporter that actually covered this and talked to her is a well-known shitlib who just threw Britney Spears under the bus by interviewing K-Fed, her ex-husband. Yes, one and the same reporter. I don't know how you go from K-Fed Britney interviews to Ghislaine interviews, but here we are. And we've only had little pieces kind of dropped since yesterday of what she said, a couple of it's a phone interview type thing. And she just feels terrible for poor Prince Andrew, but we'll get to that. So let's go ahead and watch this.
First on CBS
Mornings, can you hear it?
We're finally hearing from convicted sex offender Ghislaine Maxwell.
I'm going to pause it till you guys tell me you can hear it, because we do this every time. Okay, so let me know if you can hear it. Let me know. I don't want to keep going. I hate making you guys watch a half a video and there's no sound on it. Jilly, I was on the watch list before it was invented. The internet was invented. I believe that, Jilly. I do believe that. You remember they had the FBI watch lists for anybody who was anti-war in the 80s. I mean, coming into the 90s. Yeah, they had lots of things to put you on a watch list for. Yes, you can hear it. Okay. So now we'll keep moving along. So, Ghislaine.
From her new prison in Florida. Senior international interviewer Daphne Barak spoke with Maxwell over the phone back in August. Maxwell, you'll recall, was sentenced to 20 years in prison for sexually abusing, recruiting, and trafficking girls for convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein's alleged sex abuse ring. Her attorneys have already appealed her conviction and the sentence. Barak's conversation with Maxwell covered a wide range of topics, from conditions inside the prison and how she's spending her time to what she says she regrets.
So what do you think you made any mistake, or it's just a very bad luck? If you look back, where do you think you should have done something different?
Meeting Epstein was the greatest mistake of my life. And obviously, if I could go back today, I would avoid meeting him. And I would say that would be the greatest mistake I've ever made. And I would make different choices where I would work. Obviously.
Do you consider yourself a victim of Epstein?
I don't particularly like the word victim. I think it's one that should be used very sparingly, because today everybody is a victim of something, a victim of the pandemic, a victim of inflation. I've heard the word victim used about things that I don't like that word.
So stay tuned. Our Paramount Plus streaming app will soon have an exclusive special on Ghislaine Maxwell.
Exclusive Paramount. So Paramount got the interview, right? And so, yeah, she doesn't want to be called victim because she doesn't like that word. So she doesn't consider herself a victim. And I don't consider her a victim either. As deep dives as we've done into Jeffrey and Ghislaine, by no means was she a fucking victim. I mean, she is straight up a predator. She deserves every year of that 20-year sentence that she got. Hola, President Jesus. Welcome. So we're just talking about Ghislaine. Of course, a new interview dropped, and I think I got one more video for you. This is the one where I don't think that there's any talking in this. I think it's all just, you got to read it. But poor Prince Andrew. So she understands that her 20-year sentence is what ended the relationship with Prince Andrew, and she absolutely says unequivocally that the photo of Andrew and one of the victims, Virginia Giuffre, right, was fake. That this is a doctored picture and that is not real, which we have been, I mean, no, bullshit. That is not a fake picture. And I think that whole fake picture she did from, what was it, Top Notch Burger or something, like 2 years ago when she was on the run, was kind of to put it out there that a picture can be faked so easily. But let's read this real fast. He's a victim.
I'm calling BS on this because that's what it is. He knows what happened. I know what happened. And there's only one of us telling the truth.
So there you are. She knew that her conviction would not survive, or her friendship would not survive with Andrew. And she just feels so bad for him because he's been ousted. I think that there's a new documentary on him, and I think it's called Outs, if I remember right. Like one of those shit channels did it, A&E or one of those. I can't remember who, but come on. I mean, did you see the video? I know we all watched it, of him goosing his own damn daughter at his mama's funeral. This guy is seriously sick. And all of these, the elites, you know, we've dove really deep into this case. So you can check it out over on Rockfin, all of my Isaac Cappy, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, I go into the history of Jeffrey Epstein, how he was created, Dalton's Girls School, you know, what he was doing, how he got access to the amounts of money that he did. And basically it was just handed to him. He was a freaking nobody. And he weaseled his way in. And Ghislaine just happened to be great timing. She had inherited her daddy's espionage, empire, suspiciously, because he fell off a boat, right? So it's what she knew. I mean, Jeffrey just stepped right into the same shoes that her daddy filled for so many years. And so we've done some deep dives on this. Reprehensible. She's a trafficker. She is a convicted trafficker, and she will stay a convicted trafficker as she belongs. But you know what? We're never going to see the little black book. We're never going to see, you know, who was involved, because we know it was at the highest levels. I mean, the stories I've told you guys about the Clintons hanging out on the Epstein Island and Secret Service taking Zodiacs over there and people getting hurt, and just, I mean, there's so much to be covered up. Even, you know, their fallout with Trump and, of course, the royals, you know, come on. We've seen a picture of her hanging out with Kevin Spacey in the royal throne. The royal throne. Do you think they just let anybody sit in the royal throne? No, we know better. We know better. So yeah, definitely if you want more info on this story, but most of you guys have been with us for this. You have gone down the deep dives with us. And, you know, my question, this has been my question. I asked Kim Iverson this 2 years ago. Did somebody else pick up and take over the reins for Epstein and Ghislaine? I mean, you would think that there's got to be some honeypot stuff still going on, right? Our CIA definitely uses it, you know, Mossad, all of these other intelligence agents, right? This is what they've known for the last 60 years is these honey traps, right? You get dirt on somebody and then now you have leverage on them. And a lot of people came back and told me, no, I don't think that somebody stepped into that role and took it over, because in our day and age, with technology the way it is, they don't have to sneak into your bedroom and take pictures of you anymore, right? Because we put it all online. All of our secrets are in our emails or in our text messages, in our DMs, right? So basically, they can get the information that they need to leverage you just by going through your metadata. So I don't know if that's true, but I'm sure a little bit of both, right? That's just my take on it. So Ghislaine, we'll be, I'm sure, covering this more as more of the interview drops and more of her bullshit comes out. We're going to have no choice but to cover it. So I'm sure we'll cover it again this week. Okay, so we have to talk about this. Boston University creates a new COVID strain that has 80% kill ratio, echoing dangerous experiments feared to have started this pandemic. What the hell are we doing? Do we never learn anything? Like, oh my gosh, if we could just admit where the original strain come from and how it got here, which most of us know, we definitely wouldn't be allowing this to be happening on US fucking soil, but we are. And here's where we're at, right? You know, all of us in this little independent media bubble that we find ourselves in, we have been echoing and screaming this for years now. I mean, Amber King, Brave New Future, she brought it to you first about where it came from, where they thought it came from, and how it got out. And here we are years later with actually mainstream media starting to utter some of this, right? And the fact that we are allowing it to happen on US soil now, this isn't going to go away, right? This was a trial run. The last 2 years were a trial run to see how easily we would fall in line, if we'll get in line with these passports. And I know I'm on YouTube, I have to be careful, but I don't think this is over, guys. I think that something bad could be coming. So the variant, which is a hybrid of Omicron and the original Wuhan virus, oh yeah, let's just mix the good and the bad together, kills 80% of mice infected with it at Boston University. The lab showed top and bottom of the picture, so down here on the bottom left, when a similar group of rodents was exposed to the standard Omicron strain. However, they all survived and only experienced mild symptoms. The scientists also infected human cells with the hybrid variant and found it was 5 times more infectious than Omicron. This study suggests that man-made viruses might be the most contagious form yet. Man-made. It will not doubt surprise any Americans that such experiments continue to go on in the U.S. despite concerns similar studies may have lead to a global COVID outbreak. Yeah. Come on. The stupidity of this is just, I got a cat here. I don't even know what to say, guys. We told you it's not going away. It's not going away. They're fucking playing around with it. I mean, we don't even admit there's biolabs in the US, right? We have a bunch of them. I mean, we were talking about Skull Island and, what's the other one for the longest time? And never forget, you know, they are the ones weaponizing this. This is our military. It's the, Boston University lab. Who's funding them? We're funding them. That's our fucking money. They're playing with fire, devil, Jersey Devil. I agree. They're playing with fire. And it's just so scary. Like, we've gone through the simulations of how it could get out of a lab, right? Because they call them onion labs, right? So what that means is there's different layers of security and protection inside the lab. So a level 4 is deep inside, and then you have to go through different systems to clean up, to get out, to de-virusize, right? Well, a lot of times they have maintenance workers and there's problems with their air duct systems, shit like that. Any little thing could get this shit out there, right? And honestly, a lot of people are saying that's how the original Wuhan strain got out there. So thanks, Fauci. A gift again. And here we come with winter. So I don't know what to tell you guys. Just keep doing what you're doing. You're still alive. You made it through the last 2 years, I guess. That's all I'm going to do. Let's see. This shouldn't be totally forbidden. It's playing with fire. Experts condemn Boston lab for creating a new deadly COVID strain with 80% kill rate, warning it could spark a lab-generated pandemic. Now, I had to bring this because if I have to read the Daily Mail and I have to see the stupid ads, I just figured you guys have to too. So there you go. Researchers add Omicron spike protein to the original Wuhan strain. It's highly mutated, which is the most infectious variant yet. Eight in 10 mice infected the lab died. So yeah, something to look forward to for Christmas. What can I say? We're going to have to watch party tonight at 7 p.m. Oh, you are? For what, Amber? Let me know. What are you watching? Every person in the world makes mistakes. When they can clean the floors and have nuke codes, something is bound to happen. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just like they have all these precautions and it can so easily slip out and get out. To watch the real Anthony Fauci here on Rockfin at 7 p.m. tonight. Oh, okay. So join Amber tonight. They're going to watch the real Anthony Fauci over on the Rockfin. Amber, if you got a link, drop it in the Rockfin for our peeps. And that sounds like a good time. I'll probably show up for that too. The real Anthony Fauci. They better not leave out AZT kids and how he could give a shit less about them and how many his policies killed. And let's not forget about the beagles, right? He was torturing beagle puppies. This guy is just the worst. So I hope they don't leave any of that out of the real Anthony Fauci. Looking forward to that. Let's see. Denver Attaway says, why is Boston such a hotbed of fuckery and sketchiness? All the universities with global audiences, historical, puritanical culture that makes Southern Baptists look tame by comparison. Want to talk racism? Take a look at fucking Boston. I believe you. I have never been to Boston. It's one of those few cities I've never been to. I've been to everywhere in the United States except for the eastern seaboard up, the corner of it. So, but from what I hear, I'm not missing out much. Oh, okay. So Amber says, oh no, it's all there. At least in the book it is. So yeah, the real Anthony Fauci. Check it out over on the Rockfin. There's going to be a watch party tonight. Sounds like I will be joining. So that's, something to not look forward to. So Professor Samuel Shapira, a leading scientist in the Israeli government, said this should be totally forbidden. It's playing with fire. Okay, when Israel is telling you guys you're effing up, maybe you're effing up. Gain of function research, when viruses are profusely mutated to be more infectious or deadly, is thought to be at the center of the COVID origins, right? A Chinese laboratory located just miles from the first cluster of cases carried out similar research on bats. Coronavirus. Yeah, we remember that. But the practice has been largely restricted in the US since 2017. Only 2017. That's when we decided it was a bad idea to bring these highly infectious bioweapons over here to play with. Dr. Richard Albright, a chemist at Reuters University in New Brunswick, New York, today told dailymail.com that the research is a clear example of gain of function research. Yeah. Don't you remember when we outlawed gain of function research? But Fauci had his sneaky ways, and that was go to China. But now, screw it. Cat's out of the bag. Let's just bring it back home and do it here. He added, if we are to avoid the next lab-generated pandemic, it is imperative that our oversight of enhancement potential pandemic pathogens research be strengthened. So we got to do it, guys. We have to do it. So that way we can combat the next one, is what they're saying, right? Just disgusting. Fort Detrick is still doing gain of function. They're all still doing gain of function as far as I know. I mean, they never stop. They just call it other things and they get funding for other things. That's just been the way it's been, what was that book in the 90s? Come on, guys. Tell me what that book was. Hot Zone. The Hot Zone, right? I think that's where they took that one movie with Kevin Spacey from. But I remember reading that book in the early 90s, and it just scared the shit out of me because the one thing that book really conveyed to me was it was imminent. It's going to happen. It's going to escape the lab. Something's going to get out, and it's going to infect the population. When you have a population that has infinite growth like we've had over the last 150 years, something's going to come for us, right? Well, is it natural? or is it man-made? Seems like it. Yeah, Michael Crichton. Exactly, Natalie. So here we are. We find ourselves waiting again for them to come for us, it seems like. Let's see. What do we got now? Biden. Did you guys? Okay, so we talked about this a little bit, I think, last week with the Biden releasing prisoners with marijuana charges, right? Because he had to do something really quick so they could add it to the list of look what Biden's done, even though Biden hasn't done shit. And Russell Brand kind of calls him out, but I got my own questions to Russell Brand. Yeah, Chief Sniffer in Chief. So let's hear what the Sniffer in Chief has to say about, marijuana.
Remember that when Joe Biden was campaigning to be president, a glorious time that fortunately ended with Joe Biden as president, he said he was going to decriminalize cannabis. He wasn't going to go to Saudi Arabia and do deals with them. He was going to make them a pariah. He was going to put caps on big pharma prices. Now, he hasn't really done any of those things. What he's done is fudged versions of those things that are kind of just...
Okay, I got to pause it here because I got to ask a question. Well, it's not showing it. What is up with the 33 on his shirt? Okay, we know Russell has the 33 on his tattooed on his wrist. Now, as far as I know, with my conspiracy theory brain, 33 is referencing the Masonic Temple, right? The 33-degree Masons. Is that really what the 33 is about? Or is it just that he likes the number 33 and it's supposed to be the number of completion or something like that? I don't know. You guys tell me, what the hell is up with Russell and his 33s lately?
Gestures, empty, hollow, shallow gestures that don't really help anybody. And nothing demonstrates this mentality more clearly than what began as a pledge to decriminalize cannabis. It actually, as a piece of propaganda, looked quite good. Let's have a look.
As I said when I ran for president, no one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana.
That's hypnosis is going on there. He's trying to trick us into thinking that what he said when he ran for president is no one should be in prison. But that isn't what he said. He said it would be decriminalized. That's different. That's legally different. So he's only been talking about half a second and there's already been a lie. I suppose we should be grateful that he got to the end of the word.
No one should be in jail just for using or possessing marijuana.
At a federal level, no one is in prison for that. It's an unnecessary, pointless pledge. At a state level, there are some people, but he's not doing anything about that. It's the very essence of pointlessness. As a person who has drug addiction in his family, I would imagine that Joe Biden would be sympathetic to the fact that drugs are either recreational and therefore nobody's business because it's just leisure, or a mental health issue, as it is with like me, and it seems that it is with his son Hunter, in which case people should generally be sympathetic and it should be treated as a health issue. He's quite right. No one should be in prison at federal level. Thankfully, no one is. What other problems can we solve? I don't want any more caterpillars chewing on my tits. Well, is it happening? No. Well, that's dealt with.
It's already legal in many states, and criminal records for marijuana possession have led to needless barriers to employment, to housing, and educational opportunities. And that's before you address the racial disparities around who suffers the consequences.
So what this is yet more what I would call pretend politics, stuff that looks like something's happening, but nothing really is happening. Because I imagine the process was something like this. We said we would decriminalize marijuana and cannabis use. It was quite a popular thing. You can't do that because of lobbyists for the prison industry need the prison population to be relatively stable. Maybe people that are Republican or right-wing or whatever you want to describe it as, you use your own words, like they might be anti the idea of people that are drug dealers being released. All right, well, what can we do? Some sort of hollow gesture? Let's do a hollow gesture then.
So today, I'm taking 3 steps.
Well, don't go in the wrong direction on the second one, is what I'd say. One over there, one over there. Oh no, which way's the stage?
First, I'm announcing a pardon for all prior federal offenses for the simple possession of marijuana. There are thousands of people who are convicted for marijuana possession.
But not at a federal level, Joe. Not at a federal level. Did anyone explain this to you?
Second, I'm calling on all governors to do the same for state marijuana possession offenses.
Calling on? Does that amount to making a couple of phone calls? Hey, it's Joe. Joe who? Joe Biden. Joe Biden. Yeah, the president. What are you calling for, Joe? Oh, I don't remember.
So there you have it, a bunch of empty bullshit from Biden that he can put on his little list of look what I did. And yeah, I think when you guys, Marby, you said it best, 0 inmates in federal prison for simple possession, and they know it, right? So they didn't let anybody out for any kind of distribution or manufacturing. I mean, maybe this wiped some records clean. Maybe the only time I've known anybody to get federal marijuana charges if you are out at like a national park. We have a national park close to us. If you go out there and you party and you drink and you smoke and you get caught, then you're in federal court. I mean, that's the only thing I could think of is people that would have had possession charges at the federal level. Yeah, and exactly what Russell says. We can't legalize nationally from state to state because that takes away from big prison, right? Big prisons got to have those numbers coming in. And the states that have legalized now, we have the stupidest fucking rules and laws, and none of us are the same. None of it's uniformed. What we can buy and possess in Washington state is totally different than Oregon, totally different California, totally different than even Colorado. The way that it's packaged, the way that it's distributed. As many of you know, I used to manage a marijuana store in Washington state, and basically what happened is we used to have alcohol illegal in grocery stores or little stores, right? It was a state ran store agency if you wanted to go buy alcohol. Well, we, the people of Washington state, after years and years of this crap, said enough. Just let it go into regular stores. That way we don't have to keep funding, keeping all these liquor stores open for you to control it. So at the same time that they said, okay, we're going to stop enforcing these liquor laws. And now they got a bunch of liquor agents, right? Because I've worked in bars and I've worked in stores. A liquor agent would come in and make sure you had all the proper signage up and make sure that you're not selling to minors and do the test, make sure everybody has their handler cards, right? Because you got to have some kind of permit in order to handle alcohol. Well, that all ended in 2012. So turn around 2013, guess what? All those people still got jobs because we legalized marijuana, and those LBC, that's what they're called, LBC officers, just moved right into marijuana. So basically, all the funding they were getting from alcohol, they just switched to marijuana, but it's so much more, right? Because they didn't know what to do with all of this revenue that was coming in. And the way that they allocated it was like, okay, well, we're just going to dump it into the general fund in Washington state, and we'll allocate, so much percentage of it to going to education, to keeping school kids off of marijuana, since we have these stores now. And we, the voters of Washington state, I remember voting for the bill. It was 502 was the bill number. We wanted that money to go to our schools, to go to our roads, to go to our social service programs like the fire department and stuff like that, right? Fixing shit up. But none of that money is actually going to the things that us stoners voted for, right? And that's what pisses me off the most is we voted for it. We didn't even think about allocating that money, right? And we're not talking about it years later. We are 7 years into legalization in Washington state, and nobody is out on the floor talking about where the fuck this money is going. It's just dumping into the general fund and going to the bullshit contracts that we all know, hand in hand, everything that's corrupt with our government. So it didn't trickle down to our kids, didn't trickle down to our roads. It didn't go to anything that we actually wanted it to. It just made fat cats fatter. And it's pretty sad. It makes me sad that the movement of people who wanted legalization, we had good intents. We really did have good intents. Hey, let's legalize it. Look at the revenue we'll get from the tax revenue. We'll stop putting people in jail for it. We'll stop putting people in prison for it. But that's not what has happened. And I do hear of some bus locally, like in Washington state, but basically it's the DEA. So if the DEA thinks that maybe you are, selling out the back door of your store, or if you're a cannabis grower, that maybe you've got a black crop instead of just a green crop, this is all happening, right? So yeah, we need to have some more conversations now for the states that are legal versus the poor states that aren't. I forget that there's states that aren't even legal. I mean, there's so many of you out there watching right now that can't even have legal access to it, right? Is Biden even talking about that? No, he's not. That's what we need to be putting pressure on is, coast to coast legalization, not just at the federal level, but state by state. We need the feds to mandate the states make it legal. That's the only way I see people getting relief in some of these far south states. Yeah, and I know so many people who have unnecessarily died or have dealt with, what's the black crap? Have dealt with not being able to have access to marijuana in their dying days. And that just makes me sad. My dad was very, very ill with lung cancer, and because he lived in Utah, he couldn't have access to it. And to this day, it still breaks my heart that I couldn't help my dad out in his dying days. What is a black crop? Okay. So we call green crops and black crops. Green crops are the crops of marijuana that are going to go and be professionally packaged and sold at marijuana stores. A black crop is going to be sold in a state that doesn't have legalized marijuana. So what's happening in the US right now is we have a bunch of states that are legal growing green crops. But alongside those green crops, a lot of manufacturers are growing black crops because they know, hey, they can send it 2 states over and make so many millions of dollars off that crop, right? So the DEA is coming in, and I mean, they track every bit of marijuana in Washington state from the minute that it's a little tiny seedling until it is put in a bag and sold. That plant is marked, labeled, coded, and scanned. I mean, they scan everything. So yeah, they come in and they bust a lot of growers because a lot of them are growing black crops and green crops. I mean, the green crops are really hard to get through. Your marijuana's got to be tested, and not even tested that good, might I say, but it's got to be tested for the chemicals and pesticides that are in it. It's got to meet all of the state standards to be sold in a store. So a lot of times, some of those don't meet that level. They end up going and being sold as black crops too. So yeah, basically the black market is black crops. So yeah, Biden's token bullshit. He really didn't do anything for anybody, right? Never does. But hey, they'll cry about it and say, look at what we did. Look at what we did. So next time one of the shit libs tells you that, push back. It didn't actually help anybody. This is stupid. So why is Kamala Harris already among the most consequential vice presidents in history? When I saw this yesterday, I was like, what in the hell are they talking about? Seriously? And I love this. Amazon pisses jugs. LOL, what? I mean, what? Yeah. Can you guys name anything she's done? I can't name one thing. What has she done? It took her years to get down to the border, as the borders are, right? I mean, I've been to the border before she was. Just seems weird. DM'd Russell on Twitter and asked about the 33. Actually, that's great. I'm sure for Russell, it's some kind of Zen, like number of completion, or I don't know. Could it really be the whole Illuminati, Masonic 33 degree layer? I don't know. You know, he was married to Katy Perry though, and she was one of the notorious Hollywood sex kittens, right? There's a lot of talk about her. He did get away from her. He did see a lot of shit. So I don't know. I ain't judging. I'm just asking questions. What the hell is that all about? Just explain it to me. Maybe it's his favorite number. My favorite number is 24. I don't feel like putting it on my shirt, but you never know. So the only dangerous minority is the rich, right? We know that. So know that. Oh, and I just had to remind you, Harris, one of Harris's famous quotes is, gas prices are high due to gas prices not being low as before. To get back to lower prices, we have to acknowledge gas is high, which is the opposite of low. Yeah, this is the most consequential vice president of our time. She spits out word salad better than a fucking salad shooter. Just saying. So let's see. Oh, I like this little meme. It says, remember, kids, if the U.S. suddenly takes an interest in your human rights, they want to overthrow your government and colonize your homelands. Until next time. He-Man, always with the great ones. Okay, so we got to talk about Newt Gingrich, guys. I can't stand Newt. I hate Newt. Any person with a rational thought thinks he's a total fucking, warmonger. I could say warmonger because he's definitely in there too. Corrupt warmonger. But I found myself agreeing with some of what he was saying on Fox News yesterday. And a lot of people are talking about just how corrupt and bad the FBI has been. And now, come on, we've been saying it since freaking Comey and the whole, meeting at the tarmac that he covered up in 2016. I mean, we've had some problems with the FBI, but the Republicans are really screaming about it. And I mean, I don't agree with the end of this clip when he's talking about Dick Cheney's aide and Scooter Libby. But I do agree in the very beginning that, yeah, the FBI has kind of lost their shit. Oh, come on, not Hunter. Get out of here. There we go.
First off, for me, the biggest revelation is the fact that they were given $1 million for Christopher Steele to prove that anything in the Steele dossier was true. Can you verify it? And he couldn't. I was stunned by that. But what's at stake for Daschenko today?
Look, I think I don't know what will happen in a jury trial like that, but I think it's very clear from the evidence that's been unearthed that the FBI at the very top had gone crazy. They were doing things that, I mean, how can you go out and actively try to undermine the president of the United States the way they did? Just as they went out to protect Hillary Clinton and they've gone out to protect Hunter Biden. This is the most corrupt FBI leadership in American history. And there's going to have to be a commission or something to look at it. And potentially it's going to have to be broken up into 2 or 3 different agencies. This is really serious stuff because these guys have the power to put you in jail. So it's not politics. This is the criminal justice system. And it was clearly perverted by the last 2 FBI directors.
You know what's unbelievable, too? Congress said to them, do you have any information on the Steele dossier and in interaction with it? They never told Congress that they offered Christopher Steele $1 million to verify the dossier. They just ignored it. And what I'm wondering is, Newt, is it James Comey and Christopher Wray continuing what Comey was doing? Do you think this was going awry with Mueller? How far back do you think this goes?
Well, I think, look, you can go back all the way to the investigation, which I think illegally
back longer than that.
Put Dick Cheney's aide in jail when he was totally innocent and when they knew he was innocent. And Scooter, they knew who'd actually leaked the CIA agent's name. It was the number 2 guy at the State Department. They told him to keep his mouth shut.
Richard Armitage.
And they went after Scooter to try to flip him. Richard Armitage. They went after Scooter to try to flip him against Cheney. I mean, and that's, I think, under Mueller. So you have to say that there's been a tradition here of the senior FBI leadership being anti-Republican, anti-conservative, and corrupt. I mean, doing things that are clearly totally dishonest.
Stuart, Newt, I was just talking to Stuart Varney about this. The conviction almost doesn't matter. Exposing what Sussman did and exposing what Daschenko was up to really tells the story. Real quick, your thoughts?
Well, I think this has been a very important investigation, and I think the new Republican Congress is going to use this as a baseline to really seriously dig into what's gone wrong and why is the FBI so sick.
Newt Gingrich, thanks so much. We look forward to getting a quick verdict from the jury.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
Okay, yeah, Kill Me. Is that really his name? Okay, so yes, the Steele dossier. Let us never fucking forget that this was really the beginning of Russiagate, right? I mean, Hillary had thrown a couple of things out there in maybe August of 2016, trying to push it towards, it's the Russians, right? And I remember being inside the Dems like, we have a good relationship with the Russians right now, probably the better relationship that we've had in 50 fucking years. Why of a sudden are you guys throwing them under the bus and trying to make them the bad guy? Well, fast forward, here we are years later. They wanted to reignite a Cold War, right? Because they all get money for it. All of them, all the way down the line. And it keeps all of these agencies fed. And for them to they hate Republicans. Yeah, I do see that. I see that from the State Department, especially Obama's State Department on up. They've kind of definitely been heavy-handed Dem libs. We definitely saw that in the 2016 election with Comey covering for Hillary, even though he came out and said they were going to do an investigation. And that was the whole reason she didn't get elected. Bullshit. We know better. We know better. Do I think it'll get better under Republicans? No, I don't. I mean, Trump didn't clean house or fix anything in the FBI, right? So it just stayed shitty. Would it, I just don't see it getting any better. And yeah, they've been corrupt since probably Hoover. I agree. J. Edgar Hoover. Exactly. I mean, what exactly is the FBI's job anymore? Because whatever the job description is, they're not fucking doing it. I can tell you that. I want to say, this isn't the beginning of this clip was a follow up to that too, because what is it, Dachenko's trial? They're doing it's a jury trial, so he is going to be judged by a bunch of what little old pussy hat wearing shit libs that are gonna say, oh, he didn't do anything wrong. I don't know. I just kind of feel like that's the type of jury that he's going to end up with. But I could be wrong. You never know. And so Fox News has been doing the craziest stupid thing. Did you guys see this mock trial they're doing of Hunter Biden? I mean, this is the fucking reality that we live in, guys. We have a J6 mock trial going on with the Democrats, right? They had their big season finale last week where they voted to subpoena Trump. And on the other side, you got Judge Joe Brown and a bunch of actors playing what it would be like to prosecute Hunter Biden. This is just insanity. We live in a cartoon, but here, let's check it out.
To another topic, because you were also asked to participate in a Fox Nation a show called The Trial of Hunter Biden. It's a mock trial. You presided as the judge in this mock trial. I'm going to play a clip and we'll come and get your reaction on the other side.
After you did, in fact, contact the Bureau, the FBI, what did they do in response, sir?
Well, first, my father reached out to the FBI in October, and they basically told him to get out.
Objection. It's not responsive to the question, Your Honor. Judge, a little
We're here for semi-probable cause in one sense, so that'll be permitted.
Well, you may get some movie roles out of this. You have an amazing voice, Judge. But I would also say that I'd like to know what you think, you hope viewers will get from this exercise of seeing a mock trial of Hunter Biden.
It was kind of a weird mock trial. The way we configured it actually was a mock proceeding to determine if there was probable cause to believe that further investigation should occur, and some of the things that are on that laptop are really disturbing. So It looks like the public needs to encourage its system to get into this. We don't want mob justice, but sometimes the collective needs to bring pressure to at least look at things, because from what we were looking at on that laptop, something's way wrong here, way wrong. And America is becoming no longer the land of the free with this kind of situation, because it's just obvious that compared to what's happened to, say, Mr. Trump, President Trump, versus what's happened with this family, it's like they don't live in the same.
Oh my gosh. Your guys' comments are cracking me up. Mock trial, mock justice system. Just have a real Hunter trial. Did it remind you of divorce court? Remember as a kid, you'd stay home sick and they'd have the whole day of those fake court shows? It totally gave me flashbacks to the original divorce court. But this is the reality we're living in. I mean, let's just have pretend trials on both sides for everything and not worry about actual justice anymore. Oh, guys, we live in freaking cartoon. It's so insane. But he's not wrong. The things on Hunter Biden's laptop were very, very disturbing, right? Oz and I took a trip down that land when that first. I mean, we had to have a VPN. We had to go to a different server. We had to go to some site in China, and we determined very, very quickly that this was an actual legitimate Hunter Biden's laptop, and that was him in those videos and with those messages. And the Democrats the FBI just swept it under the rug. No, we can't talk about it. Orange man bad. We're not even going to talk about Hunter Biden and what he is doing, right? We've had a lot of effed up siblings of presidents, children of presidents, right? But nothing like this, to where he was literally facilitating meetings with his dad and finances, right? Don't ever forget Burisma. And it needs looked at. Do you think that when the Republicans take over, because we know they're going to take the House, right? We know. I mean, that's a given. They're going to take the House. Will they take the Senate? Maybe by 1, maybe by 2. We'll see. But are they going to go after this? Or are they going to keep pursuing it in the future? I think the pendulum's going to swing back really, really far, guys. And we're going to go from TDS to complete Republican insanity. You know, they'll be going after stuff and people and, oh, we have to, make them pay for what they did to the Republicans for the last 4 years, 5 years is the way I see it coming. So is it a big win if they win? Yeah, no. Senate by 1 or 2, who cares? Probably the Senate by 1 or 2, who cares? Yeah, I agree. Who cares? Nothing's going to change. They all have the same corporate donors. They're all emboldened to, the people who give them money, and that ain't us, right? And even when we do give them money, they don't answer to us. They never will. Oh, what was this? Oh, AOC. Yeah. Stupid AOC. Let's see. This is tiny, so let me get my glasses. So this is Erin Mate. So this is AOC's response to the anti-war protesters who came after her the other day, which was great. I got to say, tag teaming's the way to go. She says, sure, they weren't actually not anti-war protesters. They were right-wing Trumpers, and some were LaRouche cult members, not progressives as they claimed. Their own social media history shows this. It was a stunt that they do from time to time. Last time they showed up in this town hall yelling about eating babies or something. It's a thing they do to go viral and draw people's attention. And, she goes on with her trying to justify her war vote. But Erin Mate says AOC accuses her anti-war protesters of parroting pro-Putin talking points. She has nothing to say about Biden's rejection of diplomacy, nor explain how the squad approved billions of dollars in weapons will help in the war. She instead invokes Ukraine's self-determination. So there you go. AOC cannot reflect on the fact that a huge portion of the progressives are anti-war, and we never thought that by putting these progressives in there that they would be voting to send billions of dollars to another country for a war. But this is where we find ourselves at. I dropped my Garland Nixon interview yesterday, and I kind of had time to watch it and, think about, because when you're just talking to somebody at the spur of the moment, right there on the spot, you don't think of everything you could have said, should have said, would have said, right? And I was thinking, because he's talking about, I ask him about electoral politics. I mean, is electoral politics, can it fix anything? And he says, well, sure. If we could actually get a few independents in those spots to actually push back. And I smile and go, oh, you mean like the squad, right? He goes, oh, no, the squad is not an example of that because they fall in line and they toe the line. So that made me think, would it really change if we did get, let's say we got 3 truly independents, and I ain't talking Bernie Sanders, I'm an independent that kisses the Dems' asses. I'm talking truly independent, anti-war, candidates in those spots. Would it be enough to push back on the establishment for both sides? I don't know. I mean, some people have hope that it would. I don't think that electoral politics can fix anything. I think it has to be the workers. We need to be in the streets. We need to be pushing back. We need to, what is it Richard Wolff says, seize the means of production. I think that's the only way that they feel our power is when we hurt their pocketbooks. So great news, guys. I figured out why I'm fat. Air pollution is making women fat, new study says. So looks like all of the water weight might actually be from the air. Oh my gosh. A new study suggests that long-term air pollution exposure is linked to women gaining weight, particularly ladies in their 40s or 50s. Well, there you go. There you go. What is it? Eureka Alert reports. Observed women who were exposed to poor air quality, slightly higher levels of fine particulates such as nitrogen oxide and ozone have seen increases in their body size. According to the study, author Xin Wang, an epidemiologist, research investigator at the University of Michigan, the exposure to air pollution was tied to a higher body fat. fat proportions, and lower lean mass for middle-aged women. Eureka Alert notes that the body fat increases by 4.5%, and that's about 2.6 pounds. So the extra 2.6 pounds I got it from the air. I got it from the bad air quality. Can you guys believe that? I mean, they'll just tell us anything, right? I mean, okay, maybe it is a contributing factor, but not as much as that whole box of cookies and the fact that I didn't go for a walk yesterday. But I'm going to tell everybody it was the air pollution that caused it, right? Oh, here's another funny one for you guys. So attention, Wayne Hill residents. Portsmouth, Ohio, please stop throwing beer bottles at drones. They are property of the Portsmouth Police Department, and they run surveillance on the property for your protection. We repeat, stop knocking down our anti-drug activity drones. I love the lady, man. She's just going to chuck that. Why would you waste your booze throwing it up there? I'll make this bigger so you guys can see it. It's kind of funny. Oh my gosh. You see a drone, throw a bottle at it. I guess that. Throw something at it. I just find that hilarious. To the dome. Yeah. Too funny. I'm trying to find you guys funny. Oh, this one's crazy. Did you hear about the armored truck robbery in LA yesterday? Somebody got a lot of freaking coin yesterday. So yeah, let's hear it.
Shots fired outside of Bank of America in Harbor City. The target, an armored truck stuffed with cash. One person was hurt in the heist, and now law enforcement on the hunt for the 4 people behind it all. KCAL 9's Tina Ezzedine is live in Harbor City this afternoon with the latest on the investigation. Tina.
Susie, as you can see here behind me, this entire parking lot is blocked off as sheriff investigators try to find some detail that will lead them to the suspects that hit up that armored truck and the security guards inside it. Just moments ago, the sheriff's department confirming to me that the security guard is okay. He's doing fine, but the cash he was carrying, it's gone. An emergency call. Robbery of an armored truck outside this Bank of America.
People are getting desperate.
Witnesses hearing gunshots.
At least 5 to 7. And we didn't know what it was. We thought it was probably like, like a car's engine or something, but no.
All before noon on a Monday.
Broad daylight. It's crazy. Just be careful.
2 men inside this armored truck parked front row of the bank. The company, Loomis, replaces cash for the ATM, services the machine. 4 suspects seen wearing all black rob the armored truck passenger. Shots fired. The suspects take off. The armored truck security guard rushed to a hospital.
Yeah, I hope they catch him. You know, it's kind of crazy.
A witness pulling up to use the ATM seconds before the shooting revealed someone yelled, "Get out," warning him of danger ahead. He did. His truck left behind as local and federal investigators comb for clues in a parking lot in a crime for cash. And witnesses here say that this particular bank has seen its share of violence before, including robbery. And today, those suspects in today's incidents, they took off, still nowhere to be found. Reporting live in Harbor City, I'm Tina Ezzedine, KCAL 9 News.
All right.
Okay, so we will never know how much money they got off with, right? Because that is just a rule of the banks, a rule of the armored car companies. They never, for insurance purposes, I guess, they don't say how much they got off with. But I would say this is probably a pretty smart hit, considering they hit early on Monday morning after all of the ATM pickups from the weekend were done. And yeah, they got away. And is it wrong to be excited about robberies? I don't know, but I've always just lived in this fantasy for so long. You know, you have these conversations like, oh, how would it be to knock off an armored car, you know? So when you see somebody actually did it, it truly shows you how what's going on in our society right now. Crime is crazy everywhere. Don't let them tell you any different. I mean, I've been watching reports from all over the country where they're trying to say that crime is down 6% here, it's down 8% there. Tough times call for tough actions, and that's what I see happening. And I think it's just going to get much worse, right? And yeah, fuck B of A. They've robbed all of us, so I don't feel bad that they got robbed, right? How much have they got from all of our freaking overdraft fees and stupid shit that they've done to us for years and years and years? And I had B of A for, God, 30 years. Yeah, I've had B of A for a long time. I don't anymore, thank God. But Screw BofA. Screw all the big banks. What do we got next? Oh, we got to talk about some horror. So have you guys watched Dahmer? I finally broke down and watched it this week. And I came away with one feeling about it. And that was they could have stopped Dahmer a hell of a lot sooner had they actually listened to the Black community, because the Black community knew they had a killer. They actually even fucking knew who he was. He had so many encounters with the police. I mean, one of his victims was handed back to him for him to finish off. I mean, by the police. So, that was what I came away. And yeah, Evan Peters does an amazing job. I can't imagine what it would be like to go into the mind of a serial killer and play them, but he does an amazing job. And we're seeing some very similar things happen in Kansas City, and we'll talk about that in a second. But I wanted to let you guys know that eBay and Etsy have pulled the plug on a bunch of Jeffrey Dahmer inspired clothing from their site, which was marketed as costume pieces. So apparently Jeffrey Dahmer is the #1 Halloween costume this year. Obviously it has something to do with Netflix, but I lost it. There we go. So yeah, no, Jeffrey Dahmer, don't be Jeffrey Dahmer for Halloween, guys. That's just wrong and creepy, right? Let's never forget about the victims, the poor victims, the families that'll never see their loved ones again because of this fucking monster. And like I told you last week, the FBI says there's 25 to 50 serial killers working our areas at our country at all times. It could be much higher than that. I think it's probably higher than that now because of COVID, because a lot of people have snapped, right? I had this sent to me and I was gonna cover down it. Why won't it? Anyways, I'll just read this to you guys. So this was a message that went out from a bar manager here locally. It says there appears to be an active serial killer in Seattle. The news hasn't been made public on news outlets, but sounds like it will be soon. For numerous sources, we have heard that someone is abducting and dismantling women in their 30s. All victims were out with friends getting drinks and abducted between 12 a.m. and 7 a.m. All have been found in the South Seattle area. Moving forward, no one walks to their car alone. This is non-negotiable. We're taking safety very seriously. So this is a message from somebody. This is only from last week. And I went and did the research, and there is zero information coming from the Seattle Police Department. There was an arrest this week in the Seattle area where one guy apparently, they know he murdered a woman, but he had an accomplice with him. And now the cops haven't said crap about that. They found the one body, and I don't know if this is the case that they're talking about, but there's definitely something going on in Seattle. But it's not just Seattle, guys. They're popping up all over the damn country. Now, if you hadn't heard about this story, I was a little shocked when I heard this story yesterday. The Kansas City Star. So a woman, so let me start on this. Let me start over again. So Kansas City police say that the reports that missing Black women is completely unfounded. Less than a month later, a Black woman escapes after being kidnapped from KC and tortured in a basement for a month. So I'm going to play this little clip for you. Basically, the people, and that's the Dahmer, the people knew. The people in the community knew. The people at the bars, the people at the bathhouses, the people that were encountering him, they knew this guy was effed up and he was doing some wrong stuff. But every time somebody went to the police just didn't care. Why? Because it was the Black gay community. And very much like that, this Kansas City one, it seemed like the police just did not give a shit because it was Black women that were disappearing. So again, we had a warning weeks earlier that this was happening from people in the community, and turned out to be true. So let's hear those.
News channel. If you could please do me a favor and subscribe to all channels and like this video, I would greatly appreciate it. So last month, a gentleman got on social media and issued a warning that there was a serial killer on the loose in Kansas City, Missouri. Check it out and come on back.
I am a little upset right now. The reason I'm upset is because we got 4 young ladies that have been murdered within the last week here off of 85th and Prospect. We got a serial killer again. and ain't nobody saying nothing. The media's not covering it. We got 3 young ladies that are missing. Ain't nobody saying a word. What is the problem? Why can't we get some cooperation? Where's our community leaders? Where's our activists? Where's our public officials? Where's our police department? Where is those folks at? In President Gardens. Come on now. We need to start knocking doors. We need to start making sure that this is brought to the light. We cannot continue to let this happen.
So as you saw and heard him say, listen, there's a serial killer on the loose. We got Black women and girls missing in this area. Nobody's listening and all of that, right? Now, shortly after that, the Kansas City Police Department issued this statement. We are aware of a social media post circulating regarding the murder of 4 women in Kansas City, Missouri in the past week at the hands of a quote-unquote serial killer, and the report of 3 additional women missing. We want to make the public aware of this claim. It's completely unfounded. There is no basis to support this rumor. Furthermore, we notify the media anytime we respond to a homicide. There is a daily homicide analysis, which is also posted on our website. There has been 1 female homicide victim in the last 6 weeks, which occurred in the 3600 block of Cypress Avenue. Okay, so about a week or so ago, a woman that goes by the name of TJ escaped from the basement of a white man by the name of Timothy Haslett, who is 39 years old. He looks a lot older, but anyway, she escaped when he went to take his child to school. Now, when she went to the neighbor's house and they finally called the police, they said that TJ showed up wearing a shock collar, I guess that was shock her neck, and some sort of a latex outfit. And she also told the police that she had been snatched from Prospect Avenue earlier in September. Okay, so she said that he's had her captive for about a month. Now, remember, in the video with the man, he said that the women were coming up missing around which street? Prospect Avenue.
So there you go. More reports are starting to finally come out about what this woman went through. He starved her for a month. He beat her with a whip. She had a shock collar on. She was chained up. It's a miracle that she escaped. But the fact that 4 women had already disappeared from that same exact fucking road and the police would not even look into it. Are you shocked? I'm not shocked. You know, they always seem to be playing catch up when it comes to serial killers. And I watch a lot of Criminal Minds and stuff like that. I think we all do, right? We're all a little fascinated with what breaks in these people's brains to make them become that way. And we know it's environment. A lot of it's environment. Some of it is just the wiring, but very scary out there. I see a lot of you guys talking about, yeah, I don't play around. You come mess with me, you're going to get your ass shocked. I'm going to shock collar you. Yeah, a shock collar. Oh my fucking God. How bad, huh, Jilly? So more is going to come out on that. The police won't say. She said he'd already killed 2 of her friends. She said, he disappeared my friends, or deleted. I think the exact words. He deleted my friends. So we know that there's a couple of bodies out there. The police are not saying whether they found those bodies or not. Kansas City Police Department is not letting much out on this case. So I'll keep you guys updated as we get more information. But yeah, there seems to be a lot of active serial killers around the country. We kind of knew because of COVID that was going to snap a few people. And I think that is a triggering point that we're going to see a lot more crazy stuff in the next few years, right? We got the Stockton serial killer who's just out there shooting people randomly. Like I said, there's an average of 25 to 50 serial killers working in the U.S. at all times. And right now, I think it's higher. So why isn't this big news? Why isn't this bigger news? I was shocked when I heard this story. I was like, this was a week ago, and I'm just now hearing about it. I mean, normally this is the type of stuff I'm clicking on immediately to watch. So very, very scary for all young women, right? Not just sex workers or however you want to classify some of these women that are picked up and murdered. We can go back to Bundy and the Green River Killer, and they prey on these vulnerable communities because they know that nobody gives a shit. The cops don't give a shit. The families hardly report them missing because they don't realize they're missing because they've been living on the streets. It's just heartbreaking all the way around. And yeah, criminal profile, that guy, man. He looks like the why is it always like, it's always this type of guy, right? It's scary. You ever watch it's called the Toy Box Murders? Oh, that one's bad. He would lock them in this like semi truck and torture them. Oh, it's just terrible. The things that these sick people will do. Let's talk about the economy, guys. I'm starting to get worried for winter. How about you guys? I spent Sunday trying to get weatherproofed and cleaned up and ready for winter, right? It's still too hot in the Northwest to pull the ACs out of our windows, which is freaking crazy. I've never seen such a warm October in my life, and I've lived in the Northwest for almost 50 years. I have a feeling it's going to be a very cold winter. And energy prices are going to be insane. So this is from my favorite deep voiced, what is this? The Epic Economist. Yeah. The Epic Economist. And he's got some statistics that should scare the shit out of all of us at where our energy prices are going to be here in a couple of months.
We're already spending 21% more on energy compared to a year prior. While gasoline prices skyrocketed in June and July, and those increases were impossible to ignore. Increases in the cost of electricity and natural gas aren't as noticeable at first, typically remaining buried in the fine print of monthly utility statements. That's why consumers don't usually adjust their power use to higher electricity costs as quickly or aggressively as they do to higher pump prices. But when their bills arrive, they can see that these costs add up pretty fast, and that they've been eating away an increasingly larger portion of their incomes. The latest data shows another shock. In September, natural gas bills jumped 33%. While these bills are often confusing and filled with a barrage of surcharges and taxes such as gas recovery and distribution charges as well as taxes, the dramatic increase in electricity bills has been hard for consumers to miss. The outlook for the next couple of months is quite disturbing too. The National Energy Assistance Directors Association, NEADA, estimates that the average family will pay more than $1,300 to heat their home this winter. A very notable sum considering that nearly 40% of families are already feeling financially strapped, according to a new NPR poll. And that's in the best case scenario, if we don't face extreme weather events like we did last year. But the EIA is forecasting a colder than expected winter for 2022 and early 2023, meaning there will be more demand for heat, along with higher costs for natural gas and propane. If no disruptions provoked by extreme weather or other external events occur, natural gas bills are expected to be 28% higher this season. Heating oil bills are expected to be 27% higher. Propane, 5% higher. Electricity bills, 10% higher, according to its winter fuels outlook. But if temperatures are 10% colder than that base case scenario, the EIA is projecting that U.S. average household expenditures between October and March for natural gas will be 51% higher than last winter. Propane costs under that scenario are seen as 36% higher. In some states, wholesale energy prices are set to reach stratospheric highs, such as in New England, with an expected increase of 96%, and in New York, a staggering 124% rise.
That is crazy. We are so going to feel that. Oh my God. I mean, yeah, we all knew gas prices and energy prices were going up, but these numbers are insane. Natural gas, the difference between 2020 and 2022 and 23 is 66.1%. Electricity, 11.5%. Heating oil, 74.5%, propane, 57.8%, and all fuels, 35.3%. Now I have electricity. I kind of feel lucky now. I mean, when I lived in the South, DC, I used to live in the South, and yeah, I know there's always a hot October, right? It doesn't get cold till the day after Halloween. But these type of prices in the South, they use a lot of natural gas. That's all we used when I lived in the South. I mean, that's how my dryer was gas, my stove, my range was gas. I don't know how people are going to make it. I mean, we're barely surviving now, right? I mean, as it is, I already give probably at least a third of my income to the Power Gestapo. And yes, I call them the Power Gestapo, and I have for many years. As a single mom, you know, people think that if they donate a little extra money in their power bill, or there's charities locally that are going to help single moms out who have shut off notices, I'm here to call bullshit on that. They don't give a shit if you have a house full of kids. They don't care if it's the middle of the winter. They want their money, and they want it now, and they'll shut your fucking power off. And then once they shut their power off, they want another $500-$600 deposit to turn it back on, plus pay your bill. I mean, they make it impossible for working poor to live. And this was pre-Ukrainian war. I don't know how people are going to do it. The cost of inflation on all of us. I heard a report today that 25% of 401ks are fucking gone, just gone. And we told you, I remember doing a show with Amber about this, how they're coming for your 401ks. And guess what? They did come for your 401ks. What's left for them to come after? I mean, they're just gutting us in every way that they can. Maybe we should start coming up with ideas on how to weatherproof your our houses, right? We're a community, and that's why we are building this community, so we can share ideas with each other. We can come up with solutions on how to survive this shit. Move to Russia, Julie. Plastic over the windows, the blankets, carpets. I mean, I have linoleum out in my kitchen, and I used to have carpet out there, but I ripped it out. And I know that the floor stays warmer if I keep rugs down, right? So I'm kind of adding extra rugs where I can. I'm going to be getting the double pane windows in as soon as it's not 80 degrees in the day, and I can pull the ACs out. You can put in a wood stove. Yeah, sometimes putting in wood stoves, like in my mobile, it would not be easy because you have to get a building permit. A building permit is thousands of dollars, and then it has to be approved. You know, your pad and how you set it up is, for some of us, it's not just as easy as throwing a wood stove in. But I know a lot of people that live kind of rural and off the grid. And yeah, the wood stove is how they're going to stay warm. But this is scary, guys. This is scary. And you don't see anybody really talking about it, right? Oh, we're talking about how energy prices in Europe are going to be. But what about here? What about home? I mean, the dollar's not going as far as it used to. So we got to come up together with ideas to help each other out. You know, I don't know what that looks like. Does that look like some kind of energy fund where we all donate a little bit of money and people can come ask for help? I don't know. That's the way you think it should be set up, like LIHEAP and, your local community action programs. But that's not what's happening. You have so many hoops you have to jump through to qualify that those really, really in need, they don't even bother asking because they know they will just get turned down. And you got to have an address and you got to have a power bill. And what if your power bill's in somebody else's name because you couldn't afford to pay the one that was in your name? There's just so many things that keep those, people down. It's just going to get worse, just like evictions, right? Well, I figured we'd talk about, since we're all so poor, let's talk about Bezos's yacht. Let's check it out and see what Bezos is going to be doing with all of your money that he's making from the government.
Jeff Bezos' personal mega yacht was observed drifting off the coast of Turkey. One cannot dispute the beauty of this craft, regardless of one's interest in yachts. At 136 meters in length, this yacht is the 14th largest in the world. Lursen, a shipping firm, constructed it. The 2019 version of the luxury vessel has 2 helipads, since one is simply not enough. A 40-foot swimming pool, a 2-deck spa with wellness and health amenities, and a spacious theater where he can watch Amazon Prime originals. This floating masterpiece features 36 guest accommodations, including 11 VIP cabins, spread across 4 levels. In addition, it operates with a staff of 54 workers, which means that each of your visitors will have a pleasant experience. Mark Berryman, who specializes in designing the interiors of luxury yachts, is responsible for the vessel's sleek, modern aesthetic. The combination of wood and warm tones with a few strategically placed flashes of blue makes the spacious
It looks like a
living area
house!
feel inviting. This beautiful bar room, complete with a wood-burning fireplace and a massive mahogany
Oh, he's
dining
got wood at
table
least.
with a view of the ocean, is the ideal setting for appreciating his art. But if you'd rather not just sit around and take in the scenery, there's a wealth of comforts and amenities available to you on the boat itself. Across the Flying Fox's 2 decks is a 13,000 square foot spa. Its marine lobby is another Mark
Always gotta
Berryman
have a spa.
showstopper with heated limestone
Hey,
floors
Popeye.
and oak woodwork. Moreover, it is a lovely introduction to the rest of the spa. Murano Spa has a Turkish bath, a sauna, and a fully stocked fitness center. Massage facilities on board provide the same luxury spa experience as a land-based 5-star hotel. And you'll want to primp for the 5-star diners served on the deck. That's why there's a spa on board the yacht. Both the theater and the yacht have seating for 14, an Atmos sound system, a media system with more than 3,000 films, and a virtual reality system. All of the guest rooms feature private baths and walk-in closets.
Oh, that thing just goes on for like 10 minutes and it shows you all the rooms and the kitchen and the food and yeah, chilly lifestyles of the Predator class. So while you're saving your pennies to pay your power bill, at least Bezos has got a real wood fireplace on his yacht. Now, I've been reporting on this yacht for a couple of like a year now. Now, remember, this was built in Norway and they built it inland. And it needed to go through a couple of canals to get out to the open sea. And the problem is there was some bridges over those little canals. Some of those were landmarks that had been there for like 120 years. And Bezos just take them down. We'll just tear them down. So the people in Norway were a little pissed about that. And I'm not sure how it actually got out to sea. I know there was a lot of pushback. I'm sure he just got his way and they tore the bridges down to get his boat out. There's a couple of super yacht channels that I kind of follow on YouTube that break down what these Predator class are doing with these super yachts. Some of these yachts are freaking mind blowing. And if you're not somebody in the oligarch unless you got a freaking yacht. So they sell and trade and move these things and rent them to each other. And yeah, we always take a look at lifestyles of the Predator class. I try to bring you guys as much information I can on what they're doing with our money, right? It's our money ultimately that's making them rich. That's the bottom line. We know that. Speaking of money, oh no, Jilly sent me this. I do have a Jilly section today. Jilly, we'll get to your section in a second, but I think Shelly posted this. My FBI agent getting frustrated after following my page because he's starting to realize his entire life is nothing but a big lie. Yeah, it kind of happens when you find out the truth, ain't it? It is. Please donate to my new my nonprofit Yachts for Yachts for Tots. DC, that's freaking hilarious. Yachts for Tots. I'll definitely be a tot on that yacht. Okay, so one more crazy ass story. I've been following Scientology. I'm always freaking digging into it, and they had a $50 million donation the other day. But this clip from Growing Up Scientology kind of shocked me because there's a lot less Scientologists in the world than there used to be. So let's hear from Aaron.
Tom and Victoria Cummins surpass 500x humanitarian. Guys, this term humanitarian is a status awarded to a Scientologist when they have donated $100,000 specifically to Scientology's real estate programs. Now, math may not be my strong point. After all, I did grow up in a cult, but I consulted a calculator and I have it on good authority that 100,000 times 500 is $50 million. People wonder how Scientology has so much money. It's because of guys like this. And please keep in mind, this $50 million figure, that's just what Tom has donated to Scientology's real estate strategy. That's not even the main fundraising strategy that Scientology has. There's actually 3 main ways that Scientology collects money from its members. The first way, and it used to be the primary way, is just selling Scientology services. We're talking auditing, we're talking training. Auditing is Scientology's form of one-on-one counseling. Training is just studying a course in a course room. It's pretty simple stuff. Back in the day, L. Ron Hubbard actually said that Scientology organizations were prohibited from making money by doing anything else other than selling, auditing, and selling training. After David Miscavige took the helm of Scientology, he had some other ideas. And if you ask me, David Miscavige introducing other ways to get money out of Scientologists was most likely a direct result of the fact that the number of Scientology members has been pretty steadily dwindling since the early 90s. This is a fact. At the height, there was only 100,000 active Scientologists. And presently, as I said, there's only about 30,000. This decline has been very steady since the early 90s.
And why has that decline happened since the early 90s? What came about in the early 90s? The internet, right? The information that this is a fucking multi-level marketing cult has leaked out there. If you think about it, right? In the 80s, if you guys remember, you know, there'd be little clips about them and how wonderful they were that would pop up on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, or maybe E! Entertainment TV would talk about the Celebrity Center. But it was only with the internet that the truth of this freaking cult started to get out, and now the numbers are dwindling. And I think the reason that I'm so interested in this is because of their nonprofit status and how they have just ripped our government off for all of this money that they've brought in. And they're allowed to do it because the celebrities and the money and power they have, they cover up for. I mean, we've heard crazy ass stories about how they bugged the IRS's conference room so they could get information when they were going through legal challenges about their nonprofit status. I mean, crazy. And yeah, I worked for a Scientologist. They're freaking terrible human beings. I've never met one that was right. And I don't care if I'm offending you or not, because you need to wake up and look at what you're messing around with. Scientologists almost kidnapped me in LA. No way, DC. I'm so glad that the Scientologists didn't get you. Stay away from the Scientologists, man. They just want your money. They want your money and your soul. That is super scary. So I'll keep bringing you updates from Scientology. Of course, we got the Danny Masterson case on trial right now. As soon as we get an update on that, I will bring it to you. And I'm hoping that some salacious truths will get dropped during that hearing or that trial. But let's hope some people wake up to what they're involved in during that trial too. You know, Lisa Marie is scheduled to be a witness on that, and some pretty big time Scientologists are on the list. I saw the witness list the other day, and damn it, Hyde, what the fuck? Yeah, damn it, Hyde. That makes me sad, because Hyde was always my favorite character on that 70s show. But you know, live and learn. People aren't what you see on screen. All of us aren't what you see on screen, right? This is a reminder. This is a call to action for all of our friends in the UK. If you are in the UK, please, this came from Stella. This is an email from Stella. It says, this urgent action involves calling your members of the European Parliament to make your voice heard. Please, Julian's got a lot of good awards this week. I mean, I saw the printout of them. It's just amazing. He deserves every single one of them. But if you are in the EU, please call your members of the parliament and tell them, hands off Assange, free Assange, do not extradite. Don't extradite him to the US. So if that's in your power, please use your power. I think I have, hold on. We're not going to talk about Halloween yet. I think I have a Jilly section. I want to grab a different screen real fast. There we go. Jilly sent me this. I'm not sure who you got this from, Jilly, but I always have a Jilly section now that I throw in at the end of the show, because Jilly sends me so much amazing stuff, and I literally could write a whole show with what Jilly sends. So let's watch this. That's very accurate. Isn't that very accurate? Yeah, I love the hand up his ass. Let me see, guys. I'll go check what that said again, that email from Stella, but I gotta move back over to that screen. Okay, let's back up. Let's back up and see what it said. It says the urgent action involved calling your members of the European Parliament, the MEP. So to be clear, she wants you to call the MEP and have your voice heard. So if I misstated that, I apologize, but I thought I just read exactly what she said. So call the members of the European Parliament. And I guess that's the end of our show, but I want to remind you guys of a couple of different things. We've got the big B&B Halloween, which will be October 29th, Saturday night. And if you are one of our big boomers, one of our Patreons, and anybody who contributes to the show is invited to come sit in the green room. You can have your costumes on. You don't have to be on screen, or you can be on screen if you want. A lot of you showed up last year with great costumes. Julie was there. Kate was there, I think. Anthony, Horse Gal. We've had so many great Halloweens over the years. You know, you might remember our very first one where Fee and Pasta showed up. That was really fun. And Johnny. And yeah, so Halloween's always a blast. We kind of do it big. And I know Oz is already working on some funny, great stuff. Oh my gosh, he had me dying yesterday with one of the clips that he was working on. So you find something you think is funny or scary, send it to us. We'll reface it. We'll do what we can to it. And everybody's invited to come hang out for Halloween. Get your costumes ready. And what other? Oh, I guess I didn't have any other updates. So let's see. Oh, I do have one announcement, guys. So I talked to Mr. Craig Pastajardula yesterday, and he's actually going to show up for Thursdays to Hell and Back. So we're kind of we've decided to do Thursdays kind of a mix, right? Because there's current events, things we want to talk about, but we also want to focus on addiction. So we will bring our addiction stories and information on top of whatever else we bring. So it'll be like a 2-part show. It's what we're going to do. So yeah, Pasta's going to start hanging out on Thursdays with us at the Trailer Park Pundit. He'll hang out in the trailer park. And I look forward to you guys hanging out. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Pasta was telling me about psychedelics and how big pharma has taken over microdosing, but they've messed it up because they've actually taken the psychedelic out of it. So I'm kind of looking forward to Pasta bringing that report. And of course, I will probably look more into benzos and trank drugs, the poly drugs that are kind of replacing fentanyl, and just how dangerous that is. And let's see, do we got anything else to talk? I think Amber's doing a Brave New Future on Friday, if I'm not wrong. And of course, we have Beauty and the Boomer on Saturday, which will be leading up to Halloween. So Oz and I kind of like to stretch Halloween on. I think we're worse than with Christmas. And I know as soon as I hit in broadcast, I'll think of something I should have told you guys. But you know what I want to tell you guys? I want to tell you guys you're freaking amazing. I cannot thank you guys enough. Denver, Attaway, Fred Edward, Amber King. Thank you guys for hanging out over on the Rockfin, and everybody who's hanging out at the Rockfin. Thank you guys for the super race over on the Rockfin. AREM, we appreciate you more than any of us could ever say. Thank you so much. And shout out to all of my new channels that I was at today. Twitch, if there's anybody out there in Twitch land, we appreciate you guys joining us, and hit that like and follow button over there. And I think we're actually on Rumble today. So if you're a Rumbler, thank you for tuning in. Hi, Gamer. Thursday is my birthday. I will be on a train Wednesday. Happy birthday, Popeye the Sailor. Good stuff. Jilly, thank you so much for everything you send. Kate, you're so sweet and amazing. DC, you keep me laughing. Gamer, you're a crack up too. Catalytic Centaur, thank you guys so much. Who else is in here? I know Red Cloud's hanging out. Natalie, thank you guys so much for joining, sharing, liking, and supporting my work. I couldn't do it without you guys. I wouldn't do it without you guys. I just kind of get to I don't know. You guys inspire me to keep doing it, to keep doing these shows. Hey, happy birthday, Stevie. Stevie, I saw it was your birthday this week too. Happy birthday. I hope you had a great birthday. And your SpongeBob thing cracked me up. If you haven't seen Stevie do her SpongeBob laugh, it's definitely worth a click. So let's see. I don't know who's next. I guess Heartlands Media normally comes on after me. Of course, Sabby Sabs had some great interviews this week. Go out there, support independent media, because this doesn't happen without you guys. And I want you guys to have a great week. And I will be back Thursday with, of course, Craig Pasta-Jardula, and we'll hang out. So thanks for joining me. And we're going to close out with Violent Femmes. Of course, America is the home of the hypocrite, because America is the home of the hypocrite. See you later.
America is, America is, America is, America is, America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. American dreams are full of it. Look at the Indians, look at the blacks, look at the figures, look at the facts, look at the facts, not the lies, and you'll find out, big surprise, that America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. American dreams are full of it. Indians, check out the blacks, and then you check out the figures, then you check out the facts, check out some facts, check out the facts, not the lies, and you'll find out, it's a big surprise, right between the eyes, that America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. American dreams, only dream, no desperation limit. Desperation level, even though my nose don't work, I smell trouble, no desperation limit, new desperation level, murder in the government, say you're sorry, no desperation limit, new desperation level, turn the key, turn the lock, nationalism, you can suck mine, no desperation limit, desperation level. Watch how the world's progressing everywhere. Aggression, 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 aggression.